Even when it gets quiet in here, it doesn't feel like I'm seen.
Ooh. Yeah. You know, it's so small. I mean, well, you have to record it. Yeah. Right. Right. Pen.
Becca's smart. He eats dessert first. Life is uncertain. Eat dessert first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Ding. Welcome. The meeting, although it says the 15th there, it's February 22nd. Isn't that right today?
Correct.
So we'll change the date on that. And this is our annual congregational meeting. This ought to be fun. So, who'd like to open in prayer? Sir?
Dear Father, we thank you for this church that you've given us the opportunity to have come here and worship. And just pray that your guidance would be on the decisions made today, and that this church would be run accordance with
Mm.
thank you for the leadership that you've provided. Pray that you continue to give them guidance as they make decisions, and leading us as Christians and also as a church, and as it grows.
Amen. This is the annual business meeting, February 22nd, 2015. Let's see, welcome and define the meeting. Well, I just did that. All are welcome. Anybody can speak here, whether you're a member or not. We, you know, we listen. And how many members do we have here?
Yeah, we have 13 members here.
Yeah?
Now, I don't know if the elders are leaving or not, but that would be 2 guests.
Yeah. Well, there's a half guest right there.
And I think 2 and 3/4 guests.
Right.
Now, they are fully functional human beings.
Right. Great. So let's see now. My wife will come up and read the minutes from the last meeting.
Do I need the mic?
Yeah, you have to have the mic, otherwise you won't be able to hear what you said.
The meeting, the minutes, third quarterly, October 14th. Chris Duncan was moderator. David Jones opened in prayer. 15 members were present. The reading of minutes from the meeting, Bev Laird motioned to accept the meeting of May 18th. Allison and all approved. Summer review. The average attendance year-round is 62. Summer outreach is a little over 100. Last 3 years, about 100 and some. Movie night, we had 200 plus on some nights. Barbecue, well attended on Wednesday nights. Women's Bible study, successful, 12 to 15. Meeting and rotating facilitators, which worked really well. The Pirate Cove Sunday was very successful. It was our 7th summer, 167 kids coming over 9 weeks, averages 19 per week, with our highest July 4th, 28, and August 17th, 27. Interns were outstanding with an excellent work ethic. Having 4 interns we found was much better with the addition of JT and Natalie. Julie and Maddie were also very helpful. JT will get more responsibility as a junior intern. Booty bags will be integrated into the program as they were very successful. We actually ran out. Since we have so many repeaters, we need to be more creative. Natalie suggests that we freshen up the curriculum. It'll be Natalie's 5th summer. David Jones brought up the possibility of the purchase of a pirate ship at Abbott Cedar. There were questions about the size. Bev encouraged all members to keep supporting Pirate Cove. It's such an exciting ministry. 75% are repeaters. Ray discussed the extensive door hanger advertising campaign with 600 going out every Saturday at noon. Ray thinks 60-40 ratio of repeat and new people. Beach Blast lasts 5 weeks. 6 kids trusted Christ through that ministry. And where's the rest of it here? Ray, budget report. Ray discussed the medical coverage. There'll be a $5,000 deductible. Deacons report, Ray, Howie, David, and Pastor Ray meet once a month to discuss the needs of the church. We're low maintenance. We need to nominate one new deacon, as David is finished in February. Cindy Grovat thanked the church for the lovely flowers sent in memory of her wonderful father-in-law. The missions report, MAF ladies fully supported. Seeds of Hope is a great ministry. We hope to do more with them. 32,000 goes to designated missionaries, and 34,000 goes out on our Sunday missions outreach. Allison brought up the value of using email to communicate decisions on impromptu mission needs. We're at 34%. We're shooting for 50% of giving to missions. Old business. Clerk position open. Susan volunteered. Allison nominated her. Nat seconded. All approved. New business. The Lairds are living at the mission house. Instead of groups, we're having just several interns. The Lairds may be moving out, maybe to the Matsons. Lots of options. Thank you, Bill Stanbeck, for the new 98% heating efficient system. Pastor Ray is sending out a yearly membership affirmation letter. We need to sign it and say we want to be part of our family. This will be done yearly. As far as choosing deacons, Ray said we're to submit names to him of male members that are already functioning like a deacon, as it's a people's ministry. Allison brought up the idea of people serving that aren't year-round. Howie shared 1 Timothy 3:8. Linda Stanback brought up the idea of a church directory. Bev addressed the privacy commitment that IBC subscribes to. We allow membership information given to members. If you want someone's address, you can ask Bev or a member of the care team. We only have 29 members. We're not a normal church. Nancy brought up the idea of continuing ed courses for pastor. There's money in the budget for it, and Ray is availing it. Susan mentioned a pension. Bev said it comes under their compensation package. Allison made a motion that the deacon board be authorized to research and choose to put in place an appropriate addition to his compensation package for the senior pastor. Motion to close discussion, Allison, second Natalie. Vote on the motion, 9 yes, 3 absentees. Brief discussion of AC, especially for the upstairs, and moving movie night to the school or doing 2 nights at IBC. There's some concern about the amount of people in the church on Monday nights. Bev is hoping we can do a function at the Beach Haven School in the future. Motion to close meeting, Allison Madsen, second Susan Duncan, unanimous. Respectfully submitted, Susan Duncan. That's it.
Yeah, she didn't waste any time, you know. What happened there? Oh, okay. Let's second. No discussion. So, any questions about the meetings? I mean, the minutes? I don't see any. So we'll close that and we'll accept them as read. The pastor's remarks. State of the church. You are the pastor.
Susan summed it up in one of that last statements. We're not a normal church. And that flows down from the top, I believe. That's right. It flows to normalcy at the bottom, right? But we are not a normal church. But we're doing some exciting things. I'm excited about what's happened over the last year and looking at 2015. Finances are really well. Having Casey and the Cockerhams here a couple weeks ago, that's really the focus of this church. It's not inside here, it's outside. Of course, we care for our own people too, but I think, we've got a unique situation here where people come from all over. And just a comment that I got during Christmas when we had all the boxes up here. I forget who it was, but they were like, wow, our church at home, it's like a really big church. And we did 70 boxes, and you guys did 230. And but it's that kind of thought that it's not about us, it's about the world. And I think that's been the focus here, and I hope it continues to be the focus. And that plays out into the summer too. So we're in good shape, as far as that. And that's pretty much it for the state of the church. It's in good state. I think it's in a good state. All right. Oh, and I will say, one short thing, this is going to be David's last meeting as a deacon, because his term's over, and I want to thank him so much for the cooperation and the support. He is that kind of a deacon that, we had a discussion a couple months ago about elders and deacons, and David really pulled it together that it's a support for the entire church and for myself too. Not so much a battle, but coming together. So I want to thank you, Dave, for that.
Okay. The financial report. So I don't know if everybody have one of those? Guess it's the second page. Oh, the 3 lines. Oh, I see. Well, that's it.
No, but it's the actual too, the 2014 is. Right.
Mm,
I get it.
I get it right. Bank balance. That's what, we have bank balance? Hold back, huh? Just kidding. Okay, the next page is the proposed budget. Shows you the actual for 2014 and the proposed for 2015, which would be on the left side. And like, give you a minute or 2 or 3 to look through that. Yes. Yeah.
The one thing that is pretty exciting and comforting is that our receipts now, the money that we bring in, I think is stabilized. In the past, our budgets just come kind of like, okay, well, let's do this, and we'll see how much comes in. But actually, 2013 and 2014, like our income was almost within a couple $1,000s. So I think we can, these are realistic numbers now, very realistic to what we've had in the past. And some people, it makes nervous. It gets nervous because we always usually overspend the budget. That's because we got more money in than we had imagined. And but this one I think is going to be pretty right on compared to what we had in the past. So I think that's a good thing.
Great. You may.
Typically, where we overspend the budget is in missions. Just want to say that. Okay. Also, the first 3 lines always sometimes bring a question to people's mind. And I just want you to know that the increase for Ray this year is only due to the fact that the medical insurance went up this year. We could not get it as low as we could last year. The division between the pastoral and the housing allowance has to do with the fact now that we're not renting a place in Port Republic. In other words, we're over at the Mission House. We always had the use of the Mission House. It was always part of the compensation package. He came in at a salary and the Mission House. We always elected to turn it back over into the work that was being done there during the summer. So now we're in a different situation this year. So that's why those numbers look different. I just wanted some clarity there for you. Because, and if you have any question, please don't hesitate to talk to us about that.
But if I look at that medical insurance where 2014 actual and 2015, the insurance went up $2,200, and then your total compensation went up $2,200, there's really no increase in compensation. Well, but when you look at the housing allowance, which is not taxable, and now that's rolled into salary, which is taxable, you're really going to be net minus when it's done.
We've got some people suggested something other than TurboTax, and we're working on that. We're working on getting some good advice on how to make sure we are okay. If not, we'll put away money.
Well, I know you'll be okay, but your eyes and I don't know. I just don't see why you and Bev. I mean, it's a passive position, but we're getting 2 folks working here for 1 salary, and I just don't see how I feel as a member that you ending up with a reduction in net income. I know you'll be okay. Is something that Again, maybe I'll learn more as a deacon how this all plays out, but I'm just, at first glance, it's something that I'm not, okay, okay, and okay.
That's good.
Thank you for your concern. And, you know, we need advice sometimes, all the time. Thank you.
Anything else having to do with the budget? Or dollars and cents and that kind of thing? Something- Yes.
We'll be discussing the summer ministries director at like new business or? No, we can discuss. Because that's a change that. Yeah, we can discuss that. Okay, discuss.
Discuss what?
Not I don't want to discuss that.
Oh,
I want you guys.
what's he discussing?
The summer ministries director, new position.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. They went up to my mark.
Very good, David. Yeah, the Summer Ministries Director, that's a new position. That's a new budget line. And it was in just to set up a little bit more, spread the workload out. And it's a proposed position. And we've asked Drew Pagenkopf to fill that position. And that was the anticipation of the position would be that he would fill it. He was doing that job for the intern stipend last year, and by the end of the summer, he was pretty much taking care of the entire program, other than the Sunday. Natalie takes care of the Sunday, but all those other programs with welcoming the groups and working with them for the beach mission stuff. So, and Drew has accepted the position for this summer, which is really exciting.
The tall guy.
Yes, he was the captain last year with all the hair. So if you don't know Drew, and definitely has a passion for kids and teaching them and telling them about Jesus, and he has accepted that position. So that's exciting. Any other questions on that? Okay.
Well, just.
Yeah.
It was brought up, within the deacons, that, you know, is that, what, you know, how'd you come up with the number? So how'd you come up?
Oh, how did we come up with the number? It's basically $10 an hour once the summer starts.
Because he's gonna be putting in what kind of hours?
Probably close to 50 hours a week. There are regular interns. The schedule breaks down to, I think it's somewhere around 35 hours, and he'll be doing more than that. So, you know, it's going to be someplace between $10 an hour and 13 or something like that. And plus, you know, I think that's still pretty cheap. And plus, when you you know, if we had like another position here, that fleshes out to like $25,000 or something that for the year. So it's not like we're paying him a ton of money either. So and it's a nice amount that he can go back to school for his last semester. So that's how we kind of came up with the number. I came up with the number.
It's all your fault, right? Anything else?
Are they all right?
They're all right. John's actually home.
Thank God, yeah, okay. Oh, thank you. That's all.
That's it?
I just wanted to know about the missionaries that went. Thank you. Thank you.
Not really. Well, we communicate with them. We're talking about budget right now, and we might want to put that on some other time.
When we get to missions, we'll talk about that when we get to missions.
Yeah.
Okay, is that good?
Sounds good to me. Well, no other questions, comments, or input for the budget? No. I need a motion to adopt the budget that we have before us for 2015. And need a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, I usually do the thumb, right? I don't know what happened there. Paul. That's Cindy. Those opposed? None opposed. Yep. Deacon report. Who's reporting on the deacon report?
That would be me. That's right, I'm gonna need that. Thank you. Deacon report, I'm not so good at this, like keeping track kind of stuff. That'd be advice to the next head deacon, be better at that. Take notes, things like that. But I was fortunate enough to have, like I said in the last meeting, we have a fairly low-maintenance congregation. But what we've discovered as deacons is that the role of deacons isn't about clearing the snow or washing the windows or whatever. I mean, we may do that stuff, but it's really about caring for one another. And especially those like the elderly people and such that have the needs. And we have a care team that steps in. We have people like Ray Faleska who has such a heart for that. And so that's what we've discovered in the deacon board. We came in with preconceived notions about what deacons do and what they are, and we've learned some different things about what the Bible really says deacons are. And this year we discussed eldership because it was brought up that maybe we should have an elder in place or some elders in place. So we got this book called Biblical Eldership by Larry Strauch, I think it is. We had actually read his deacon book, which I think you had presented to us, Chris Duncan. And that was excellent. So we read this book. It was recommended to me by Pastor Glenn Snyder out at Clayton Baptist, who is our friend and one of our overseers, if you will, in the Mission Mid-Atlantic. And he recommended the book to us. We read it. And then we met with Glenn to talk about it because he has so much experience with deacon boards and elder boards and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of came down to the deacon board at this point is eldering. We're doing the things that an elder should be doing, and maybe we're not quite ready for that position of eldership, of voting somebody into that. It's not about being old and being in church for a long time. It's not, like, oh, the oldest Christian in the church, man, should be the elder. It's about vision and maturity and spiritual maturity, things like that. And so, we felt like at this time we're doing all right with the deacon board doing the eldering and being, as Ray said, a team of guys that come alongside one another and come alongside him, maybe to challenge him sometimes, but most of all to make his job a little easier and help him and support him and get behind him in his vision as our pastor. And so, and it was interesting as we looked across, as we did that and looked at the men, and we saw, this is cool the way God puts the people that he puts in place at the time he puts them. So that was a good time for us, and we'll probably have to revisit some of that again. But for right now, we're feeling okay about things, and it was actually easy to serve as a deacon for you guys, especially with the likes of Ray and Howie and Ray and such being on the board, if you will. Okay, so beyond that, last meeting, the issue was brought up about retirement account compensation, whatever, for Ray and Beverly. So we were asked to look into that. We did some looking into that. I got some, a couple of people throwing out advice, so on and so forth. I went once again to Pastor Glenn Snyder because he has been a senior pastor for a long time. I know him very well. I've known him since I was a teenager. He has a heart for this church, as Ruth is sharing now. His first position as a pastor, as a senior pastor, was in this church. So he loves this place, and he was part of bringing Ray and Beverly here. So I like that we have him, in a sense, as an elder to go to. So we did. So I talked to him about it. He knew a lot about it. He knew a lot about the tax ramifications and things like John was talking about, and things that tax accountants don't know related to pastors and what's legal and what's not, and all that kind of stuff that goes right over my head. And so So we met with him, and he recommended some things. We finally got together with him. We talked it all out. We talked it all out. We talked it all out. We threw out all of the possibilities, and we challenged Ray at times, didn't we? We challenged him at times. And at the end of the meeting, he said, basically what I'm going to say here, so it kind of became a moot point. But so here this says from Pastor Ray, Beverly and I have had the time to really think and pray about the concern over our retirement fund. As we expressed in the last deacon meeting, we do not wish to have a retirement fund come out of my salary or IBC's budget. We've actually, through prayer and some counsel, have concluded that it would be best for us to save in order to purchase a house. This will serve us in the future by way of fixing our monthly rent, and also hopefully provide some equity if either one of us make it to the point where we may be any nursing facility. The house will be essentially our retirement fund. We feel very blessed that we were thought of enough that others had concern to put our finances to work for our future. Even though we may not be proceeding in the way that was originally proposed, the suggestion got us thinking and challenged us to put together a plan for our financial future. So, there you go. In essence, they declined. So, you may have questions. I'm sure you will. We did, and we asked all the questions. We really did. We came at it. Didn't we come at it from every angle with you? So, we did. So there, you got your deacon board is not. We're not just a bunch of yes men. Susan, you're going to need to speak.
Can we vote to give them a gift from the church budget? I mean,
A one-time gift, an annual gift?
or an annual gift every year towards their right? How are they going to save if they haven't taken an increase in salary, and we're not giving any? Is that possible?
That would be outside of budget. We would just take care of that outside the budget. We would just take that outside of the budget.
And we have time between now and our next meeting to come up with an option, a thought, and then we can actually think about that and pray about that and what we might be able to do instead of deciding right now that we're going to do this. So, because they have expressed and more importantly from Beverly and Ray was that they didn't want to burden IBC's budget. They want the budget to be there for the ministry needs that are there, and not to draw from that in any way. And so they didn't feel comfortable with the idea of, because we're kind of evening up budget-wise, it's working out what's coming in, what's going out, it's a good time, we're moving into the summer. They didn't want to be a part of burdening that budget. But it, as Ray said, it caused them to rethink their position as far as the future. Ray thinks he's going to, till he passes away at 95 years old, is going to be the svelte young man that he is, and his mind's going to be as clear as it is, and that he's never going to need to step aside, which that would be a blessing. But we also talked about the possibility that things change and we can't predict it all, but so I don't know. Maybe we could think about that for something that actually all of us think about and pray about what we might be able to do for them in that regard. Help to invest in their investment. If they're going to choose to invest some way in their future, maybe we can think about something like that.
Can you share what Glenn said churches do? Do they give 2% of the budget?
I don't remember the details of that, and
do pension
yeah, well, mostly he basically said it's the pastor himself that chooses where the money goes. They do set it up, part of the salary, whatever, and they choose to invest it where they see fit and see wise. This is the general rule of thumb. It's not necessarily done for them. The money is allotted, and isn't that right? Isn't that essentially?
Basically, it was, we just picked a number that I have there, it's $66,000. That's the number that I give, that's in the salary, from my salary package. Then the pastor says, well, I want to put, 20,000 away of that in a savings. or 3,000 or 2,000, but it's that the way that it's structured for the pastoral salary, that's how it works tax-wise and everything. So it's that type of a situation.
And that seems, according to Glenn, that seems fairly the common way to do it.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. That's and so that's where we're at, that we choose to save for housing instead of putting in an account where we don't have the access to it, type of thing at this point.
Yes. Hang on, Ted. Let's get you so we can get you on tape.
Just after the last meeting, I did a little research, and it's hard to, like, this is a very unique church with 29 members, but, you know, to the benefit of, even if it was just Ray, but then we get Bev too, but we're probably about 25% below the lowest pastoral compensation you can find. So just to, you know, where we stand, you know, being a unique church of 29 members, it's hard to judge that with the area. But this area, what a pastor, a full-time pastor is receiving, we're getting quite a bargain.
I think what you mean by the fact that we're unique with 29 members, and so it's because 29 members, but at full steam, how many people do we have attending? It seems out of balance that the number of attenders, but we spread it out through the year, and it's a different story, you know, because we're talking about 150 people here on a Sunday in the summer and 30 people here on a Sunday in December.
To address that, Ted, is that number fits right into the, I mean, exactly in the middle of the pastoral salary for a church of 60 members, between 50 and 100 members, because there's surveys and charts and everything. And for 2015, I think the high was like 78, and the low was like, you know, some ridiculously low number, like 32,000. And we were, you know, right in there. That was for the Northeast. For the Northeast. Yeah, it's all sectioned out, and it's sectioned out. The size of your church, the denomination, all those different things. So you plug all these different factors in, and you come out with a number, you know, a range. And we're right in, that's why I felt, you know, comfortable that we're in that range. We're not too high and we're not too low.
And my advice, I say this often to people, my advice as the outgoing head of the deacons is just what Ray said, the information is out there. We're not living in a bubble. We're not reinventing the wheel. Someone has done it before. Someone has done it well before. Let's look. That's why I would call Pastor Glenn. Look for advice from people that have the experience, have the know-how. The information is out there. He was able to, that's how we came, you know, the salaries and such, you know, in the Northeast and the average congregation and all that kind of stuff. The information is out there. We don't have to sit here and start from square one and go, oh, gee, we got to figure this all out. People have figured it out, and it's great. And when we can learn from their experience and not have to learn the hard way, what a blessing that is. And with the available information out there and the way ministries are run, and there's so much, you know, in writing and people that we can look to. We all know people that are in ministry that can advise us, that have been there before, that have done it before. And I know myself as a worship leader, when I've had the opportunity to share with somebody that's just maybe getting started, and they're like, what do I do? And I don't know how to end this guy and that song. And when I can say, you know, look, don't worry about that. This will make it easier for you. If you just think about this, or, you know, treat it this way, or you're not that, you're this, and help them and help some of that learning the hard way, help them set that aside so they don't feel like they're starting from scratch and nobody's ever done this before. They have, and they've done it well. We can count on that. So, you know, let's use those resources when we can, and that's where Ray comes up with information like that. So, I think that's about it for me. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
No, get my junk in.
This that sheet.
Is that you? Okay.
No, this is what you read from. Yeah, I can't decide if I want to have an opinion. That That's the deacon report, right? Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's the story. Well, I don't really know. Didn't read this too well. But what this basically says that anything that we would like to give him, he has chosen to save it for a house. That's how I read that. Right? So you can, if you would like to give him above and beyond the budget thing here, you can do that. That's just how they're going to handle it. They're not going to put it, let somebody manage it or something like that. They'll save it, sounds like to me, and purchase a house. Is that correct? Am I interpreting that correctly? So what that means is that if you would care if you would care to designate a giving towards that thing, you can do that. Yes? Yeah.
I think he's online there, and that's what Glenn had finally said to us. When we were all said and done, we met with him about this idea. Then the final thing was Ray said, sorry, well, I don't want that. We're like, well, why do we have this meeting, But we discussed all that, and Glenn said, well, if your congregation wants to do something for you, they're going to do it, and they have full right to do it. So it's just about what it is, and what they've chosen is, like, as Chris was just saying, they've chosen to invest in a house. And if we want to give to that, designate to that, I think we're good to go.
Oh, get there. Rollerblades.
Okay, well, I think where this goes into effect is that we are a different church in that there's this amount of members, but I know that at Christmas time when a gift was given, we stretched out to the people who are here all summer. And I think it's our responsibility as members to share with those that we've gotten to know the information that's being discussed here, because they might not get this information. And I'm not saying in a gossipy way, I'm just saying in care for the fact that they love the church as much as we do. They're just not able to be here right now. So I think that's our job as members, to be able to share with those people that aren't here right now what we're hoping to do to make it easy for Bev and Ray to have compensation for the future.
Anything else on that? Or pretty much that's where we're at right now. So, yeah. I can't say it.
I've been here a long time, and I have never seen a missionary list so wonderful. And I really think this church should be really proud of it. So, if we can afford that much for each one, it's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Great.
Something else I want to say about that, but I'm going to let it go. Okay, that's the deacon report. Election of deacon and moderator. Is that me? That's me. So looks like there's, John is interested in becoming a deacon. I guess he knows that.
John who?
This John Paganhoff.
Well, what I've learned is that make sure you attend the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Use the meeting, you nominate. So Ted and Paul were just.
Oh, you weren't here for that meeting? Oh.
It was Ted and Paul were nominating.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm learning. Attend the meeting. Now he's now the head moderator. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So let's see here. So is there any discussion? Anybody want to make a motion here that we do a vote, or a discussion first? There isn't any. Attend the meeting. That's the discussion, right?
I make a motion that we approve John Bagenhoff as the term 2 years as stated by law.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Notice.
I'll make a motion to vote together. Separately.
Yeah, together. Everyone.
I'll make a motion to nominate Chris Duncan as moderator.
Oh,
Or whatever term.
whatever term. They've been trying to get rid of me every year, so. Yeah, you got to do it every year.
1 year.
Okay, so what we'll do, yes, you gonna say anything? No? Okay, so we'll just vote on it together. All those in favor of those two guys, thumbs up. Okay, all those not, leave. No, it's from thumbs down. It's unanimous.
Well, let's all practice. It's pagan cop, not
Pagan.
Pagan cop.
Oh, that's not H? Oh, then we gotta redo it.
We're in close.
Yeah. Okay, the mission report's next. That's me and whoever else is on the mission team. I just want you to notice that if you look at the budget, the amount that we're budgeted in the missions, or maybe you don't have that. You do, okay.
Yeah, it's the first one on the last section on the bottom.
No, it's this page. Right here.
Why are we talking about?
That's fine. Anyhow, we have actually budgeted 21,000. That's where we fixed numbers that we give out. And we added 4 new organizations or people. Let's see, it is. It's Atlantic State Rescue Mission. That's actually our largest one at the moment that's fixed, and that's for food there. Casey and Val Ellis, we picked them up. Seeds of Hope, that's in Camden. And this is a specific thing for one of their specific outreaches to there. And the Harris is in Kenya. So we added that up. The interesting thing is if you go over to where the budget actually is, and you see how much is we spent last year, it was 62,000. So what happens is that God moves while these people come and are visiting, and we have other people that we don't support, officially on here. That the Lord has His people support through this church, and so it's really very unusual that you're like 3 times, above it. You're thinking? Okay, well. A deaconess?
Are you going to ever, oh, well, I thought the deaconesses could help you, could help the pastor and.
That's the deaconess there. That's the deaconess to help the pastor.
We'll talk about that some other time, yeah, you can talk about that.
Yeah. So anyhow, we went through the what we were spending years before as a fixed thing for the missions, and we made adjustments there. And we'll do that again this year. We did have a discussion with Cockerhams. They were here 2 weeks ago, I think now, right? And that was really, that was really good. I mean, I enjoyed meeting them and talking to them about what their plan is, and then hearing about exactly what goes on down there where they're working in Haiti, and it's not the easiest place to work in, so, but it was a good discussion, so we'll see how that works out. Anybody want to get on the mission group, that'd be fine, we'll let you on, and we'll talk, and Susan might make dinner, but there's no more desserts, I can't have them, so that means you don't get them either. Yeah, they're all bad for you, so that's the story there. We do get correspondence. Ray seems to get all of it, and a lot of it shows up outside there, so pick it up on the way out. I wanted to say something about Wycliffe, but I forgot what it was now. So this is a very active mission church. We really give a lot compared to churches that are much larger. And when you talk about an unusual organization, this is really unusual. God's got His hand here, and He's after Beach Haven locally and the rest of the world complete. So, any other questions? Any questions? Didn't we discuss every new deacon has to go on a mission trip the first year? We did talk about that, right? Yeah. Wherever? Not Hawaii. Well, it depends on what you do there. Old business. Heating system in Mission House. Laird's living at Mission House. That's what I have here. So the heating system works?
It works. There goes the neighborhood. What's that? There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, the heating system is working. It's wonderful. It's nice and toasty in there. Even during the 0 temperature spell we had, it actually got up to 65 degrees in there or so, which was what we have it set at. And so it took a little work. We had to tweak it a little bit, but that all worked. And again, I want to publicly thank Bill and Linda Stambeck for the donation of that system. And then, Steve Reeder came in and did the install for us. And so that was nice. And we are living there in the mission house.
We have moved in.
I just want to make clear that the installation did cost.
Yes, the installation cost. Okay. Alrighty, and any new business? I have nothing on here. Uh-oh.
Am I allowed to bring up?
You're allowed to do whatever.
That the deacons would consider giving some funds towards renovation of the mission house upstairs bathroom. It needs updating desperately. And the deacons, maybe they'd consider that at their next meeting, since we do have some money in the budget.
This has already been briefly alluded to, and I think it's more old business than new business, but I always like to confirm. I am officially back for Pirate Cove this year to head the program. I just always like to confirm because usually in our recap meeting right after the summer, I never know what my next summer is going to be bringing, but I am officially back. Ray, Bev, and I have already started talking about getting together once March hits to start brainstorming curriculum, and I do want to follow up on the ideas I had mentioned in the last meeting. We're definitely going to do things to freshen things up and keep it as efficient and also as beneficial as possible for the kids, keep it exciting and fun for them. And we've already talked about some interns who are showing interest, and it's looking to be another really good summer. So that's that. And the booty bags will be back.
Yeah. Anything else there? There's gonna be something. New business.
Just, Ruth, to speak to the deaconesses thing, my only experience when I think of deaconesses in past churches is they put the communion stuff out on Sundays when it's communion Sunday. I don't know what their role beyond that was, and that's just because of my lack of knowledge. But since deaconing is really about serving one another, it's not about knighthood. It's not like thou art a deacon, serve, you know? It's about people that are already doing that. They're already serving, and then we recognize that they serve, and we say, hey, you're already serving the church and the people, not the building specifically, but the people within the church. We recognize you. Would you consider being a deacon? It would be the same thing. I would consider that if someone is interested in being a deaconess, which we don't have the title of or the position of, we don't need to. If they want to serve, the care team would be the care team is a deaconing organization, if you will, or a ministry, if you will. That's about caring for people. So I would say if there are women that want to serve in a deaconing kind of capacity, that's a place. The care team would be to serve and to serve one another. And we have that already happening. So that's just a thought on that, if that helps you any. I don't know. You have thoughts on it?
No, I was just thinking like Ray and Bev, they do all the cleaning here and all. And every Friday night years ago, Evelyn and I used to clean the church, so the pastor didn't have to worry about it. You know, for little things, you can still decorate, but I think I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's a good idea. They work so hard, and I thought that truthfully, if we had deaconesses, they could sweep a little bit more maybe or something. Fix the communion plates.
Roofing.
Is there a report from the care team?
I didn't see one on there, but this is the time. Is there a report from the?
Since I'm supposed to be the head of the care team, which I think over the past year with my work, and I've been so busy, I've come to realize that there's only one care team here, and we're all members of it. Okay, it's not just Sue and Nancy, it's everybody. I've seen so many instances over the past year where someone needed a ride, or someone needed a prescription filled, or someone needed a meal, and it happened. And I had nothing to do with it. It just happened because this entire IBC church is a care team, and I expect it'll just continue to be that way as we move forward.
Any other new business or thoughts? We're at open comments and new business. Okay.
Over the last year, Beverly and I have been praying and thinking about what our next step is going to be in ministry, and talking to some people and praying over some different things. And we've come to the decision that it's time for us to transition from Island Baptist Church. Not because anything's going wrong, but because everything's going right. I'm sorry. You might not want to hear this. Over the last year, Beverly and I have been praying about what our next step in ministry is. And at this time, we feel that it's time for us to transition to a different ministry. Not because anything's going wrong, but because everything's going right. And just give you a little bit of background. 8 years ago, things weren't going right here. And Pastor Glenn and some other area guys came together and said, you know, let's give it one more chance. And I got wind of it because of my friend Chris Duncan actually said something to me, and a couple other people. And I came here to make this place come back to life. And that's really where my heart was and is still breathing life into here. But just different things in our lives. And really, it kind of came around with Bev's mom passing away and different things like that. We're in a different place in our lives. And so we're just looking at finding where God wants to place us. I haven't been actively searching, but some things have come into our realm. When we were down in Florida, we went to Christ Fellowship every week down there, and they have a ministry out in Belle Glade, which is out in the farming community. It's about an hour west of Palm Beach. It's in the middle of the sugarcane fields. And they have a life center there that ministers to the kids in the community. And we had the opportunity to go out there and volunteer. I'd heard about it. I'd watched stuff and heard about what they were doing. And was like, wow, this is so cool. So we had an opportunity to go and volunteer out there. And we did it twice. And following that, a friend of Ted Grovat's we had connected with, and I had texted him and said, Mark, if you could get me in touch with the senior pastor at this big giant church, I'd appreciate it. Because I just wanted to talk to him about some different things that I had heard were going on. And during that conversation, and then after, I get introduced to the executive director of Life Missions. And at that point, he tells me that there's a position available at the Life Center in Belle Glade for the director. And said, I think the guy who's supposed to take that position just walked into my office. We've been in discussion, not a lot, because it's a big church and they've been doing all kinds of stuff, so I don't exactly know what the timeline is, but both Beverly and I feel that, you know, if that's where God wants to take us, that's where we should be pursuing at this time. Again, it's not because anything's going wrong here, and we love it here, and if I could stay here the rest of my life, and it was, I'll say, if it was like it was in the summertime here year-round, I would love it. Because Ruth keeps saying, and Ev said it, and other people saying, Ray, you're going to burn out. I could run 100 miles an hour all summer long, 12 months a year, because that's how much I love doing ministry. When I was talking to this man named Bill, he said, well, what do you want to do? What is your... And I just said, I just want to love people and tell them about Jesus. And then I went, God, that's such a lame thing to say. You know, like I'm talking to an executive director of a 20,000 member church. I just want to love people and tell them about Jesus. And he goes, no, that was the exact right answer. And so that's where we're at. I've already told Ray and Dave, and we'll have get some things in place and in motion. And I just have to tell you one thing. When we were at the Life Center, we got fully involved. I didn't go there just to watch. We actually got, and we was in this group with these little third grade kids, and this little Hispanic guy named Angel. He's on the website. You can see his picture. He looks at me, and he takes my arm, and he goes, "Your fur is golden. You have golden fur." And I was just like, "Oh, come on. You're killing me, man." And I just want to love people and tell them about Jesus. So I've talked to Jim Leary out at Mission Mid-Atlantic, so there'll be some help for us there also in finding the right person. My prayer is that the foundation that we've set here is the foundation to love people and tell them about Jesus, and really care for them and love them. I think that's why people come here in the summer, because they know that they're loved. And we'll do anything and everything we can do to make sure that that's known. Any questions or comments?
Yeah. No comments, it looks like, yet.
I do, at least while everybody's thinking. I mean, I had the advantage of knowing, as Ray Fleska and I did, we heard from Ray already, Ray and Bev. So we've already been thinking about it. And it's not a fun thing to think about, losing these guys. One of the main reasons I'm here is because he invited me here, and we've known each other since second grade. And so I have questions about the future of IBC and all of that. And my past experiences in other churches is not always positive, in the sense that how things change and what things become and how people get in the way and make church into a thing that they want it to be, as opposed to what God really wants it to be. And I hope I won't be disappointed this time, as I have been in the past. But I think the main thing is that we keep that, what Pastor Ray said, in mind. Love people and tell them about Jesus. Make that, the most important thing that happens here. And if it doesn't fit under that, if it's about, the church down the street, or the church I used to go to, or the ministry, if it's all about that stuff, it's not about recreating somebody else's thing or whatever. This is what we've been for this many years, since Ray and Bev are here, and they brought that vision, love people and tell them about Jesus. Let's keep that as our battle cry, if you will, our motivator, our mission statement. Mission statement doesn't have to be big. That could be our mission statement. He said it sounds, silly and simple. It sounds like a Sunday school answer, in the sense that, but it's not. I mean, that's what's been the joy of being here, is that's what it's about. Whether it's the people that come in the summertime with their families, or the people that through the week come and see a movie and have a pleasant place to hang out and see a movie, whether it's about the missionaries that we try to go over and above to help and bless, or whether it's about it's not just about summer. It really isn't. It's about this little group of people that hang out through the rest of the year. When we get together and we have food together on a Wednesday night, and we spend time laughing and joking with one another, talking about our lives, finding out, what's going on in the businesses or the things like that. And then we pray together and we do some Bible study together. It's not about any one of those things when we get together on those Wednesday nights. It's not about the Bible study. It's not about the prayer or the fellowship. It's about all of it. And what it does is, among the other things that we do, our men's meeting, the women's meeting, whatever it is, the care team that are serving in those ways, it makes this little group that hangs out all year long a little stronger, a little more committed to one another, a little more committed to the mission of love people and tell them about Jesus. So, that's what I want to be a part of. That's what I want to continue on with. And it's probably going to mean more of us kind of banding together, teaming together in that as the time comes, which is a good thing. That's why it's good that we've had these groups that have come together to serve in different areas of our church to build more of a family environment. And these guys, Ray and Bev, have been, it does flow down from above. And what flows down from above is that love Jesus, or love people and tell them about Jesus, but also building that family. The family, the people, it's a friendly church. People feel welcome here. And it's because, of all of us, all of you guys. Whether it's the first person they meet at the door, the deacon, or, the greeter at the door that has a warm smile and a handshake, and it's not, they don't feel like, oh, nobody talked to me, or where we have our fellowship time. Sometimes, poor Ray Faleska's, hey guys, come on, sit down, be quiet, sit down. I gotta move on with this because everybody's friendly, and they're welcome, and then we get to know them, and then we get to know what's going on in their lives, and that's when we can pour some Jesus into their lives and into each other's lives. So, John.
Not having known in advance, it's kind of a shock, and change is, scary for many of us. But if we think unselfishly, not about how I feel, but how Bev and Ray can serve going forward and what's in their heart and how God can use them. And we need to think of that as well, not just this small core. And I think I'm excited to see how God's going to use you in you and Bev in this next chapter for you guys. And I realize that's not an easy decision to make. And it's been prayerfully considered. And I look forward to seeing what God has in store for you.
All right, well, anything else?
Do we have a time frame on this, Brad? And should we get a search committee going? I mean, you'll be gone by summer? You won't be here next summer, for sure?
Yeah.
There's two timelines that could come into play, either that I would be gone before the summer, or it would be after, depends on how quickly they can. It's a big organization, so they don't move as quickly as we do, and, they do more than thumbs up, usually. Yeah, yes. But the one timeline is interview in March, and then being there by the end of April. If they can't get it done that quickly, then it would be after September, because I told them, once we really start putting stuff in play, there's a cutoff time that I won't be able to leave. And even in that, if I was down, there was flexibility. Said we could fly you up, 4 or 5 times over the summer if there was a need of that kind of thing. So that's kind of the timeline. But yes, we will be with the new deacon and Ray, and we'll be in contact with Howie also, and set up a committee and a pastoral calling committee.
This is me just thinking out loud, and you're going to find that I'm going to go back and forth on this stuff because it's not an easy thought, all this change. I didn't hear about a possibility of end of April as a timeline. That to me sounds unfair on their part, that they would do that to us as a church. I'm not sure they're thinking about us when they're thinking about the end of April. They're thinking about their position and you being in there to fill that need. I don't know what, that's just me thinking out loud, thinking humanly, maybe thinking selfishly, but that seems unfair. At first I thought it was maybe like a June start. Maybe we got time to at least get somebody for the summer as a transitional situation, somebody that would be willing to take the position for the summer. So, we could think about things like a search committee or whatever if we need to do those kind of things. But that's my initial thought, and I might be inclined to have you guys share with them that we feel that, or at least that I feel that way. The one guy in the congregation feels like that's a little unfair. I wouldn't want to do that to another congregation if we were bringing someone in here. To make it that sudden, especially someone that's vital. It's different when, you know, they're looking to get rid of the guy. I've seen that enough times where it's like, how can we get this guy out the door? Well, here's a way we can get him out the door. Well, then, yeah, okay, great. You know, they're not going to miss him because they already have him out the door even before he's out the door. Unfortunately, it happens too often in churches. But that's not the case here. This is someone that we don't necessarily want to see you go. We want to encourage you guys to do what God leads you to do. We want to bless you guys. We want to continue on with the vision that you started. But boy, that's April. Wow. So just a thought.
Well, and just kind of off of that, I mean, we're very set that we're going to do our summer programming, like whether the change happens sooner or later. And I think if you guys did leave before, if it was June, I think we'd be in a place that we'd be set and ready to rock, and we could do the summer with a transitional person. April is a little scary to me just because you guys are such a part of prepping everything. And especially though Drew has been through this one summer, in coming into him having or being summer ministries director, I just feel like we'd want to make sure we gave him as much prep and, you know, counseling as possible, and so that he and I can also work together because this is a new thing, you know, working in relation to each other, doing the two separate things. Yeah, April just seems like very soon to prep our summer, whether you guys will be here or not, but especially if you're not. So I think that's just also something to keep in mind.
My additional thought as we're talking about this, and I appreciate you guys letting me go on, but I am just thinking out loud on some of these things, is my concern about the April thing is not necessarily about the summer. We have Drew coming. We have you accessible through, they're willing to fly you up. We have you accessible through Skype or whatever it is, emails or whatever. I understand that. What my concern would be that we would rush to bring someone in here to fill the spot as pastor, not as summer ministries director, but as pastor. And that having known beforehand, when I heard Casey speak today, the two things that stood out to me were in the Corinthians passage where he was talking about basically things were so bad for them, they couldn't rely on their own strength. They had to trust in God. And I started thinking about this, that is the case. We really do need to trust God to fill the space. And because I have seen that go wrong when people get impatient. And that's when it goes to the Hagar story in Genesis, where they impatiently impregnated Hagar to get a son for Abraham, instead of waiting God's time. And it wasn't a good decision to make. You know, they kind of stepped in on God's plan because it wasn't their, you know, we got to get this done. We got to get this over with. I don't want to see us do what Abraham did and rush the process because we're feeling, desperate. Well, God's not stepping in time, so we got to step in, you know? And then we're regretting it because we got the wrong person. Not that we don't get a good person. Not that we don't get a person that's maybe a great preacher or has a heart for this, or whatever it is, but the wrong person to continue on in the unique ministry of Island Baptist. Of course, in the way they see fit. It doesn't have to be a replication of Ray and Bev. In fact, I would hope that in some ways there would be something new, you know, that would be the growth that we would experience through a new person's vision. But still, we are what we are. You know, we're a church that largely is strong in the summertime and less in the wintertime. And this ministry to the kids and that kind of stuff, and the town and the community and all that, this is really who we are right now. And I don't want to make that rush to judgment. I feel like something like that would force us there. It doesn't have to. If that's the way it is, end of April, that's the way it is. But let's not be pushed by that. You know, to make the wrong decision and get the wrong person because we're anxious to fill the space. You know?
Yes, this is going to, a lot of glory is going to go to God because we're going to be stretched in our reliance of Him, and we're trusting in Him, as Ray and I are as well. That news didn't come to us until Thursday, and we still need to digest that ourselves for what we want to do. Okay, I just want to read this out to you to put your minds a little at ease and give you something to pray about. Pastoral Calling Committee. The Pastoral Calling Committee is a temporary committee responsible for examining candidates for pastoral staff positions. It shall be elected by the congregation at a meeting called for that purpose and shall expire upon the acceptance of a call by a candidate. Okay, so here are the ingredients to the calling committee. A pastoral calling committee shall consist of the Board of Elders. Well, Ray is actually an elder as the pastor. A chairman of the Board of Deacons, and at least 3 additional members nominated by the elders. Okay, now that means that you guys have to pray if you want to be on this calling committee, if you want to show interest, if you want to express that to your deacons and to Ray. And that is quite a responsibility. It involves everything David and everyone is saying. And then just to follow up with Natalie's comment, all systems are still go. Right, we're meeting in March. We're going to set as much up creatively and everything as possible. And we're going to operate until the Lord presents to us the next step. That's all I needed to say. Thank you.
In that regard, we're very fortunate to have Drew and Natalie who have done it and have a clue. They know what to do. We're very fortunate in that sense. Very blessed.
Kind of in response to what Dave was saying, of course, Natalie addressed the June date, but we kind of have to look at the assets that we have here in the church with the mission house and the summer program. And having seen a lot of churches go through this process, it's not uncommon to have an interim pastor. And we could possibly call an interim just to get us through the summer, and Ray with his feelers, and not be forced into this timeline situation that you're referring. We don't need to call a full-time pastor in March. I mean, that's ridiculous. But we could go that route if that's what the deacon board decides to pursue. And a fresh face, somebody would, going through the summer, it's going to be, a lot of work. But you could, like I said, use that asset. Summer on Long Beach Island, draw somebody that you guys know. So, anyway. Yeah, just a thought.
Thank you, Ted. I agree with that. I think an interim would be the way to go. Because, yeah, I definitely not a rush thing. And I want to add to what Bev said. I'm going to work up until the day we leave. That's what I've always done. When I took over this job, I was over Tapestries printing signs the day before I left here, to take this position. And, everything will keep running up until that time. I'm not going to stop working, stop dreaming about what this can be.
As a church that meets triannually, as Beverly read the description of the search committee, part of my thoughts, well, maybe we need to nominate a search committee today, but there's no reason why we can't meet in 2 weeks. So I don't know if we need a either a nomination or a recommendation that we pray and think about those who might want to serve on this committee, and that maybe we meet in 2 weeks to make a decision on that committee to help us move forward.
Would we want to wait until like Howie and Allison are back from Florida because Howie is a deacon? That's April. I forgot it was March or April.
That's excellent idea. May I, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And as we wait, I'll be getting more. As we wait those 2 weeks or whatever, I'll be getting more information too, because it's a little sketchy right now.
Yeah, go. No. It might be immaterial. It might be immaterial, yeah.
You were first, so that's the way it should be.
Okay. I almost just forgot. Yeah, Ray has a little bit of a linear thing that has to happen now. We got to get Howie on board. We have to tell the people that aren't attending here right now at this meeting. So we have some things we need to do this week, and I suppose he will call he'll call a deacon meeting as well. That's all I wanted to say.
I was thinking of something else, but in light of that, it's true. Discussions are going to begin with people that we know that go to the church, and we need to be sensitive to their feelings about this. We need to represent this properly as it's been stated here, not embellish anything, not put any of our own conditions on things with them, just give them the information as is well as we can, describe what's going on. and so that the information gets out there properly. I guess, and as far as regards to Howie, I mean, it's just the nature of him being, a guy that goes away more often. It was one of our challenges in considering him for a deacon, but the phone calls are there, the emails are there, Skype, there's so many ways to stay in touch. So there's ways for him to be involved, even if it's, even if it's at a distance or, and praying about the situation and so on and so forth, because we do respect him and his position as a deacon and his input as a, guy that's been a Christian for a long time. So, oh geez, now I kind of lost track of where I was going, but it'll come back to me. But so let's see if I can.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, what I thought of was Ray mentioned Jim Leary, who was here and preached a few weeks ago. Jim is part of the Mission Mid-Atlantic, which is essentially the, if you will, an elder board above us. They've been advisors to Ray since he began here. So they're aware of the situation, and they're aware that just as they filled the position before with Ray, that they may, be able to help us in that regard now, whether it's in an interim position or a long-term position. They may be able to help in that regard. And once again, we're reaching out to people that know better than we do in some ways, or are more experienced, or have the knowledge and because they oversee many churches. How many churches would you say, Ray, that they are involved with? Okay, so they see churches, that are changing pastorhood in good ways and in bad ways. We're fortunate it's a good way, but not all of them are like that, and so we have that advantage. And I do know that, I heard that it may be that even Pastor Glenn might be done in his interim position at Manahawkin Baptist very soon. So, and there's somebody who they have a family home on Long Beach Island. It may be something that would be a possibility for us as somebody to step in, even if it's just in the pulpit, because we don't necessarily need to have the person to oversee the summer ministry, because we have people like Natalie and Drew that are coming, and we have access to Ray and to Bev. But someone to just kind of help us through the transition in preaching and overseeing the life of the church as we are, the other people, the other aspect of the ministry, the one that continues year round, maybe we could, so there's just a thought. So.
So, I guess we're done with those thoughts for now. Anything else? Any other new item? Okay, I need a motion to close the meeting. Oh, great. And that's what we're going to do. So why don't we pray? Father, we just thank you for the opportunities you bring into our lives to teach us more, stretch us around. And we thank you for the things you've done in the past and how we know that you've got it in control. And things come into our lives to strengthen us and to stretch us and to cause us to rely upon you more and more each day. And so lift up us here and those that we have to inform and let them all know, and all the noise that goes around with that. But we especially lift up Ray and Bev to you, that they would feel strong in you, in the direction that they're going. And we thank you for saving us and for saving them, and for the ministry that you've given them over the last 8 years here to prepare them for the next step. We thank you, Father, that you love us and you're not letting us go and not letting them go either. Mm-hmm. And there will be a day when we'll all be in heaven and say, wasn't that a great time? So we thank you for Jesus, who without him we would have no hope, no joy, and no future. For it. In his name we pray.
Sing this. Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father.
Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Us, we. Amen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't want to be like, oh, like, June also, we can be all crap. Yeah, April was, when you said April, it was just like, oh,